Hey everyone, Deborah Worth from Worth Cooking here. Today I'm going to show you how I made the flowers from my Valentine's Day cake. They're a little bit different than basically any YouTube video that I saw, so I thought I'd go ahead and do a video. First of all, equipment. I have an upside down wine glass. I like that because I can pick it up by the stem and I can turn it around and I can set it down. Then I use parchment paper for transfer, just squares of it, and the Wilton's 104 tip, which is wide at the top and narrow at the bottom. To do the center, I do the swiggle. I wanted to show that in slow motion, and then I do 1, 2, and 3 petals around it, making sure the wide tip is at the bottom and the narrow tip is at the top. Then around that, similar concept, but I do 5 petals. And this one, I like to change the direction I go, just because I want each flower to be unique and not uniform. So by changing it up, it just gives it more character. Then around that, I do 3 petals, but this time I bring the tip up and down from the base of the flower, and I make sure it flares out. The narrow tip is much further from the base of the flower, and that gives it an opening effect. Then if I want to do it bigger, I do that same sort of petal again. Try to do a little bit more dramatic in going up and down, and just go once, maybe twice around, depending on if my icing breaks. So there's one of the flowers. I'm going to show you 2 more times because that's the biggest flower that I do. And then I'm going to show you kind of the smaller flower that I do. It's not a great size difference. It's just enough to give, like I said, variety. So for the smaller one, instead of doing 3 individual petals after I do the center kind of swiggle, I just encase the entire thing and go straight to 5 petals. So that's 3, then 4, once again, 5. You can swivel you can start with the top of the tip facing in and then kind of tip it out a little bit to make the petals look like they're blooming. Once again, the 3 petals that I swivel up and down, and that one is complete. You'll see when I set it down, it is definitely smaller, not a huge size difference, but enough to make it work. Then I'm going to show one more time with just the middle size, and this is the one that I do the most. The swivel, and then 1, 2, and 3 petals around that. Then once again 5. And I was mentioning that you can take the tip outward, and this one shows it a little bit better. I'll show it in slow motion. I'm starting with the tip pointed in, then I'm taking it out, the narrow tip, and that gives it an opening effect. Once again, changing directions just to give it more variety, and this is the 5th one. And then around that, I end them all basically the same way. The little roughly petals where I bring the tip up and down. So there you go. That's how I make the flowers, and I try to do each one different. That's the greatest rule as far as I'm concerned. Don't follow the rules. So